À rejoindre le pupitre, Madame la Ministre, pour délivrer votre discours. Merci.
Vous allez y arriver.
Attention, je ne veux pas tomber. Attention de ne pas tomber. Vous avez pu vous poser quand même. Vous avez pu quand même vous poser.
Bonjour et bonjour à tous et à toutes. Je tiens tout d'abord à saluer le commissaire de la République, M. Louis Lefranc, et le président du gouvernement de la Nouvelle-Calédonie, M. Louis Mapou. Je salue également la présence de la consul générale d'Australie à Nouméa, Mme Annalise Young. Je remercie la première vice-présidente du Congrès, Mme Mashoro Rainier, de m'avoir invité à prendre la parole aujourd'hui. Maintenant, in English. Honourable Congress members, civil society, members of the diplomatic corps, it is a great honour to be the first Australian Foreign Minister, indeed the first Australian Minister to address the Congress of New Caledonia. Yesterday I was fortunate and humbled to be able to participate and present a kutum to the elders of Drubert Kapume and representatives of the customary Senate. And today it is my privilege to address this preeminent institution, a beacon of New Caledonia's commitment to democracy, to representation and to pluralism. These are values Australia shares. I'm pleased to say that the Australian Parliament in which I serve is ever more reflective of our modern nation. Australian parliamentarians have origins from across the world, and Indigenous Australians have been elected in record numbers. Our Parliament and our nation is enriched by this diversity. As Australia looks to the world, we see ourselves reflected in it, just as the world sees itself reflected in us. And this diversity is fertile ground for building bonds. We want to work closely with the French state and New Caledonia to advance our many shared interests, because ultimately we hold the same desire for the future of our region. We want to live in a region that is peaceful, that is predictable, where our countries and our peoples can cooperate, trade and thrive, where our relations are based on true partnership and respect for international rules and norms, where we respect the agency and leadership of regional institutions, from the Pacific Islands Forum to the Pacific Community, from the joint heads of Pacific Security to the South Pacific Regional Environment Program. I commend the role that Nouméa has long played in fostering regional cooperation in the Pacific. This morning I visited the Pacific Community Headquarters, where among the many important projects, there are scientists mapping the effects of climate-induced coastal erosion. I come here to this place to say this to you. Australia is committed to working with all peoples of our region. And as we engage, listening and respect is at the heart of our approach. Last year, I opened the Australian Consulate General in Papeete, making Australia the only country in the world with a diplomatic presence in every Pacific Islands Forum member. Perhaps that is the clearest demonstration of our desire to listen, to hear, and to work with everyone in the region. In 1940, Australia opened its first diplomatic mission in the Pacific here. In 2016, we welcomed New Caledonia's entry with France's support into the Pacific Islands Forum. So as we together face grave and unprecedented challenges, climate, COVID recovery, intensified contest, we believe a united Pacific Islands Forum is central to protecting our shared interests in a peaceful, prosperous and resilient region. Guided by the region's shared vision set out in the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific continent, we know we are stronger together, and we all have a part to play. We commend New Caledonia and the French states' desire to work together constructively on regional engagement, taking into account their respective competencies. You have much to offer, from your economic strength, impressive education system, and commitment to renewable energy, to your abundant natural assets, your warm welcome to our peoples, and your rich culture. Australia deeply values New Caledonia's contribution and our unique relationship. We share the belief, as set out in the Boy Declaration of 2018, that climate change is the single greatest threat to the livelihoods, security and well-being of the peoples of the Pacific. As I was Australia's first climate change minister, I have a deep personal appreciation of the catastrophic threat posed by climate and the imperative to act. And I have seen firsthand the leadership of the Pacific, the global leadership of the Pacific. For too long, Australia neglected our responsibility as a member of the Pacific family to act. But last year, the Australian people spoke through our great democratic process. And they elected not only a government that cares profoundly, but a parliament that cares profoundly about taking action on climate change. So we are proud to be bidding to co-host COP31 with the region in 2026. And I express my deep appreciation to France for its support for this bid. And I thank President Mapu for his personal support and for recognising the importance of this to the region. Through COP31, we hope to amplify the region's leadership at a global level and to build on France's legacy, the legacy of the Paris Agreement. No small part of the climate challenge will be to shift the world's energy habits, to move the world to clean energy and to electric vehicles. In this, both Australia and New Caledonia will play a major role this century. Our hope and our vision is for us to do this together. New Caledonia's nickel is a critical mineral for the production of electric vehicle batteries. And we are a world leader in some of the green technologies used to transform nickel into electric vehicle batteries. And I know of at least 2 Australian companies interested in forming partnerships with New Caledonia in this sector. Both our mining industries adhere to the highest standards of environmental, social and governance criteria. So I'm pleased today to announce that Australia will fund a program that will allow us to continue to build on these high standards. 6 New Caledonian civil servants have been invited to participate in the Energy Resources Governance Initiative later this year. This initiative brings together people from different countries to promote sound mining sector governance and practices and to exchange best practice. Innovation and training represents a big part of the future of our friendship, with opportunities for our people to learn together, to train together, and to work together. In that spirit, I have relayed to New Caledonia's authorities, including in my meeting with the President, and also to the French state, that Australia wishes to explore the feasibility of New Caledonian residents joining the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility, known as PALM, scheme. It is a scheme which delivers jobs for Pacific and Timor-Leste workers in regional and rural Australia, enabling them to develop skills, to earn income, and to support families back home. It is one example of how Australia is working with Pacific partners to deliver for Pacific priorities and to build a more prosperous, a more secure region. Australia is a close friend of France, and we are proud of our joint efforts in the region. We value France's contribution to security and prosperity in the region, and I expressed this to the High Commissioner in our meeting yesterday. The French-led Croix du Sud international exercise starting in a few days in New Caledonia will involve 250 Australians. And only last month, through the FRANZ, F-R-A-N-Z mechanism, France, Australia and New Zealand, our Defence Forces came together to deliver urgent humanitarian relief to Vanuatu after it was struck by twin cyclones. France, Australia and New Zealand marked the 30th anniversary of FRANZ last year. For us, it is at the very centre of the many humanitarian response mechanisms we belong to in the region. And we also welcome France's increased focus on development in the Pacific. Officials in both our countries are working on a letter of intent between my Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and France's Agence Française de Développement on critical infrastructure and climate change resilience in the Pacific. We welcome this commitment to work together and we hope to foster more of it. Honourable Congress members, it is such a privilege to address you today. We know that New Caledonia is at a complex, historic juncture. We recognise the work and the commitment it has taken to reach this point. The institutional arrangements in New Caledonia are a matter for the people of New Caledonia and the French state. But Australia remains committed to our partnership. So I hope in Australia you will not only find a constant neighbour, not only a reliable friend, but a commitment to you as a family member. As a sign of our long-standing friendship, it will be my pleasure later this morning to present to this Assembly a gift on behalf of Australia and the Australian people. It's an artwork by an Australian artist, Neville Namanyuk. Neville Namanyuk is a Baninji man. He is from the Rock Country of West Arnhem Land. He is a First Nations ranger, tour guide and artist. Earlier this year, Neville and his nephew Tara visited New Caledonia. He visited to talk about our Indigenous Rangers program and to strengthen the ties which already exist between our cultural and environmental practices. They met the Dayubiq NGO in Yengen, artisans at the Chibao Cultural Centre, and gave a didgeridoo performance at the Noumea Town Hall. My Consul General tells me that Neville and Tara loved their visit here, the warmth and generosity of your people. So the Consulate General specially commissioned Neville to make the piece that I will be giving you today, and he graciously seized the opportunity to return the kindness and hospitality he received from New Caledonians. The artwork depicts the rainbow serpent. This is part of our traditional First Nations dreaming story, the creation story. It is one of the oldest, greatest and most profoundly important stories for our traditional elders. I know there are many Pacific fine artworks on display here at your Congress. It's a distinguished collection. And I hope you enjoy the piece I give you today. It is a celebration of our culture, our First Nations traditional elders' culture. And it is also a symbol of Australia and New Caledonia's long and steadfast connection. So I thank you, merci beaucoup, Oleti, for being with me today and for the honour of speaking with you in your Congress. Merci. I give this to
The Vice President.